It's Friday, April 27th. Welcome to Pastor Bob Daily. Harris, my friend on Facebook, says, I was at the mall today and ordered a pizza and a soft drink. I was dressed in Gothic attire. I couldn't help but noticing the vendor was looking at me like I was awkward and didn't deserve to be served. When I went to get a refill on my drink, he said it was 35 cents and gave me another ugly look. I paid him and proceeded about my business and talking with someone that was admiring my attire. I noticed that a well-dressed man in a three-piece suit was wanting a refill. I glanced at the vendor and he smiled at him and gave him the refill at no charge. I was so upset and felt like this was a huge blow against my appearance. I wonder how many times people that look different are viewed by society. They always talk about race, but what about people that just want to be different? Do they have to worry about what the world thinks of them? I did confront the vendor and told him to buy anything from him again. He chuckled. It's okay. I am who I am, and that is what I will be. Harris, there are some of us, and I'm one of you, who likes to be a little different. I don't like to listen to the same music as everybody else. I don't like to dress like everybody else. I have always enjoyed being a little different, just like you. And I also realize that sometimes that comes with a little bit of a price. But you have to understand that it's a price that we have to be willing to pay. Being a little different says a lot of things about us. It says, first of all, that we're a little bit rebellious, and we are. Not necessarily in a bad way, but rebellious. In other words, we don't just accept things. We don't want to just look like everybody else. We rebel against the status quo. It's true. No sin in that. And to be different also is to be misunderstood. You see, when someone who is on the other end of that spectrum looks at someone who's dressed in Gothic clothes, they think of a lot of things. They think of the press that was done during the Columbine massacre, when two supposedly Goths murdered a bunch of high school people. Goths don't really have a very good place in the press. You know that already. And so when people who really don't understand the culture meet someone who represents this, sometimes they have mixed feelings. Sometimes they have strong feelings. You never know what somebody's gone through. You never know what somebody's family maybe has done to mistreat them, who maybe represent a style of dress that you have. And honestly, to just assume that he didn't like you because of the way you're dressed isn't necessarily the case, although it's a good possibility. But I don't want to just be treated like anybody. That's just the way I am. I want to be a little different, to stand out. And after 60 years of this, I realize that there's a price to be paid and not everybody understands, and I'm willing to pay that price. A little different. And Harris, you have to be willing to pay that price too. This isn't injustice necessarily. It's just the way people view each other. It doesn't just happen with somebody who's dressed Gothic or dressed in black like I am, or somebody who has long hair or piercings or whatever, tattoos. It's something that people do with other people, even if they're not dressed a little differently. Everybody has their comfort zones. Everybody feels strongly about the way they are and feel like everyone should be just like them. And, sometimes those people that are anti are going through the same feelings that the Goth people do with them. We do honestly have prejudice on both sides. I realized that when we started Sanctuary some 27 years ago. We talked about how all the churches wouldn't let the heavy metal people in the church. And we started to be very anti-church. Those people that wouldn't let us in, we started to criticize them probably far more than they were criticizing us. and realized that we were doing exactly the same thing. One of the exciting things for me in the last 25 years, has been to prove people wrong, honestly. To be the kind of person to them that loves them. I look at them in the eyes and I communicate my countenance with them, and I get past the barriers. And Harris, why don't you prove to these people that the stereotype doesn't work with you? Go out of your way to be loving, to be kind, to be a stand-up guy. Win them over. And, that's what diversity is all about. It's about being different if you want to be, but everybody sharing a common goal, and that is to love each other unconditionally. God bless you. Have a great day.